Enbridge Energy Company's Lorraine Little's with us today. She in the NewsPress studios for a conversation about the company's Flanagan South Pipeline, which will transport Canadian heavy crude oil from a terminal in Illinois to the Cushing storage hub. The proposed route for the 36-inch pipeline will go through Washington, Osage, Pawnee, and Payne counties. What's next in the pipeline process?
Well, the pipeline is actually under construction. We started in mid-August. We have 4 different construction spreads. We kicked off the first 3 in August, and now we are planning to kick off the last spread, which is why we're here in Oklahoma this week doing open houses so that people are aware that we're coming, and so they're going to see a lot of activity, a lot of construction activity, some hiring, lots of local business, and we want to make sure people are prepared for that.
So has a construction company been hired for the Kansas and Oklahoma sections? Or?
We hired a general contractor, if you will, prior to beginning construction in August, and so they're overseeing the entire pipeline project. And so they'll, but the way pipeline construction is done is it's done in spreads, so that roughly 100 or 150 miles, and you have crews that are dedicated to each of those sections. So, so the same contractor is overseeing all 4 of those construction spreads.
And the 4th spread you mentioned, that's the one that is coming, I guess, from Kansas into Oklahoma then? Or?
Yes, exactly.
And will there be any local hiring done for that?
Typically, there's about 50% of the workforce that comes with the contractor, and then the other roughly 50% is hired out of the local union halls. The trades that are most often associated with pipeline construction are laborers, operators, teamsters, and welders. And so our contractors will be or are already in the process of working with the local union halls to acquire the type of skills that they'll need in order to construct the project.
You know, why is this pipeline needed?
Well, we have an interesting and neat thing going on right now in North America, in that we have the opportunity to be energy independent, and it's because there are resources up in northern Alberta called the Alberta oil sands, and then Enbridge also transports a lot of light sweet crude oil out of the Bakken Formation in North Dakota, and so because of production areas like that, and because technology has improved so much, so it's economical to pull out those resources, we're able to look towards being energy independent. And so Enbridge is undergoing a variety of different expansions throughout its system in order to provide access to refineries or to customers for that crude oil. So in other words, we're increasing the capacity on our pipeline system to pull oil out of Alberta and oil out of the Bakken Formation, and we've got shippers or customers who are excited to access that product because it's secure, reliable North American crude oil.
Okay. Has there been an estimate on the economic impact the pipeline project is going to have?
Well, in addition to paying increased property taxes as a result of the new infrastructure that's going in the ground, communities will also see lots of local business. So, in other words, the construction, the people who are working on the project will be, they'll be buying gas, they'll be staying at local campgrounds and hotels and eating at local restaurants. So the communities along the route will certainly see, an increase in economic activity during construction.
Now, is there a timeline to have the entire pipeline completed and when oil will start flowing through it?
Our in-service date for this project is mid-2014, and so any pipeline project roughly takes about 3 years to develop and get the permitting done, and then the actual construction takes between 6, 8, 9 months, and then it's completed and ready to go. So the construction part is actually the shortest part of the planning and design of a pipeline.
We've read a little bit about, or people are concerned about pipeline leaks and things like that. How are pipelines maintained to ensure that there aren't any leaks, and are there any detection systems built into a pipeline that would, let you know that there's a problem?
Well, Flanagan South will be built with the latest technologies. So the latest that they know about, steel and making steel, the steel or the pipeline better out of the mills. So we have the same mills that we work with all the time for our pipeline projects. They know what our quality standards are. We go back to them and we say we need a 36-inch pipe for Flanagan South. They already know what our standards are and what our wall thickness is. And so that we have that. We have fusion bonded epoxy coating that's applied right at the factory, which is an external corrosion inhibitor. So that's the latest in coating technology. The pipeline is also built. There are valves at various intervals along the pipeline route, so that those valves are, if there's an emergency or any kind of a leak occurs, those valves can be closed so that you're reducing the flow of oil. And then our entire pipeline system is actually monitored by our control center, which is up in Edmonton, Alberta. And so that control center monitors every mile of every Enbridge pipeline, and if it sees any kind of an anomaly or any kind of a dip in pressure, then they can shut the line down from Edmonton, and then they call the local person, the local Enbridge person here in Oklahoma, who would go out and take a look and visually, see if is there an issue, or is everything just fine. And so all of those aspects will be at play here on the new pipeline as well.
And this pipeline parallels a pipeline you all pretty much already have in place, right?
It parallels the existing Spearhead line, and Spearhead was built in about early 1950s. And so after Flanagan South is in place, Spearhead will continue to be operational. Both lines are needed. That capacity is needed in this corridor.
And now once the oil gets to Cushing, what happens to it after that?
Well, we have roughly 20 million barrels of storage in tanks at our Cushing facility. From there, the oil can be stored in our storage tanks there, or it can get off on various pipelines, either Enbridge pipelines. We have one that goes north. It's called our Ozark line into Patoka, Illinois. We have a line with our partner, Enterprise Product Partners, called Seaway. So some of the oil can move off onto that Seaway line, which runs from Cushing down to the Gulf.